That day, the house had been silent, and only Malinali's tiny bell of laughter had filled the spaces and distances of the home. Only the grandmother and Malinali had celebrated the girl's birthday, for her mother had left a few days before, accompanied by a Tlatoani with whom she had fallen in love, to be in the audience at the ceremony of New Fire, which was celebrated in those parts every 52 years. It was an important event, but Malinali's mother had taken longer than necessary to return. After midnight, laughter and noises were heard coming from Malinali's mother and her new lord. They returned cheerful and very lively, for the man, by the heat of the new fire, had proposed, and she, very pleased, had immediately accepted. She invited him in and prepared his hammock. When Malinali's mother was about to lie down to sleep, her mother-in-law interrupted her. 3 years ago today, she said, your daughter was born. Today is her birthday. Why weren't you with her? Why didn't you care enough to place the red conch over her pubis? Because then, when she is 13, I would have to perform for her the ceremony of rebirth, and I will not be there to do it. How is it that you will not be by her side? I am going to give her away. You cannot rip her from me. She belongs to my heart. She belongs to my feelings. In her is the image of my son, or have you forgotten him? Everything is forgotten in this life, she answered in a cutting tone. Everything lapses into memory. Every event ceases to be present, loses its value and meaning. Everything is forgotten. Now I have a new lord, and I will have new children. Malinali will be given to a new family who will take care of her, for she is a part of the old fire that I want to forget. No, the grandmother demanded. I am the one who is here to show her the way, to smooth out her existence, to prove to her that the dream in which we live can be a pleasant one, full of songs and flowers. We don't all dream the same thing, the daughter-in-law replied. The dream can be cruel and sorrowful as mine has been. She will be given away because everything in this life is forgotten. It is obvious, the grandmother said in an authoritative voice, that you will neither shed a tear nor worry over what happens to your daughter. I see that you have forgotten the advice of your mother and father. Do you think that you came to this earth to act wildly, to go to bed and rise merrily with your new lord? Have you forgotten that it was the God of all things who gave you that girl so that you may show her the way through life? If that's the case, then let me care for her. As long as I live, let Malinali remain by my side. Malinali's mother complied with the grandmother's wishes, and so it was that from that day forward, the girl was lovingly educated by her grandmother. As a result of the long talks between grandmother and granddaughter, from the age of 2, the girl's speech had been precise, abundant, and well structured. By the time Malinali was 4, she could express doubts and complex concepts without difficulty. The credit was her grandmother's. Very early on, she had taught Malinali how to sketch out codices in her mind so that she could exercise both language and memory. Memory, she told the girl, is seeing things from the inside. It gives shape and color to words. Without images, there is no memory. Afterward, she would ask the child to draw on a piece of parchment a codex, a sequence of images that narrate an event. It could be real or made up. The girl spent long hours drawing, and at night, the grandmother would ask her to narrate her codex before going to sleep. This is how they played together. The grandmother greatly enjoyed the intelligence and creativity with which her granddaughter elaborated on the images she had made on the parchment. Malinali never imagined that her grandmother was blind. She thought her grandmother behaved normally and spoke beautifully. The tone of her grandmother's voice caressed her ears and made her feel an enormous joy. It could even be said that Malinali was in love with her grandmother's eyes and with the sound of her voice. When the grandmother told the story, Malinali watched her grandmother's eyes with an unbridled curiosity, for she saw there a beauty that she had not seen in any other person. What most attracted her was that her grandmother's eyes lit up only when she spoke. When the grandmother was silent, her eyes lost all their vivacity. They faded out. It was only by accident that Malinali discovered that this happened because her grandmother could not see. One afternoon, when the grandmother was resting in the back of the house, Malinali, without making a sound, approached her grandmother carrying a small bird cupped in her hands. "Grandma, see how it suffers?" "What suffers?" the grandmother asked. "Can't you see it here in my hands? It's hurt and I want to heal it." "No, I can't see it." "Where is it hurt?" "One of its wings." The grandmother reached out her hands, and Malinali put the small bird in them. For Malinali, it was a great surprise to watch her grandmother try to find the bird's injury by touch. "Sitli, how can it be that you who see everything see nothing? If your eyes don't see colors, don't see my eyes, don't see my face, don't see my codices, what is it that they see?" "I see what is behind things," the grandmother answered. "I can't see your face, but I know that you are beautiful. I can't see your outside, but I can describe your soul. I have never seen your codices, but I have seen them through your words. I can see all the things that I believe in. I can see why we are here and where we will go when our games end." Malinali began to weep silently. "Why are you crying?" the grandmother said. "I'm crying because I can see that you do not need your eyes to look or to be happy," she answered. "And I am crying because I don't want you to go." The grandmother tenderly took her into her arms. "I will never leave you. Every time that you see a bird in flight, there I'll be. In the form of the trees, there I'll be. In the mountains, the volcanoes, the cornfields, there I'll be. And above all things, each time that it rains, I will be near you. In the rain, we will always be together. And don't worry about me. I went blind because I was disturbed at how the appearances of things would confuse me and not allow me to see their essence. I went blind to return to the truth. It was my own decision, and I am happy with what I now see." The sun had risen. That morning, the light was more fluid and the clouds sketched fantastic animals in the sky. Malinali, accompanied by the memory of her grandmother, stopped her work at the grinding stone to light the fire that would heat the comal, the clay dish where the corn flour would become tortillas. She did this slowly and in reverent silence, for it was to be the last time she would light the fire there. For a moment, she watched the shapes of the flames, trying to guess their meanings. The god Huehueteotl, the old fire, showed her his finest shapes and colors. The red and yellow sparks mingled with the green and blue to paint stellar maps in Malinali's eyes, which put her in a place outside the realm of time. For a moment, she was filled with peace. In this state, Malinali shaped the dough with her palms and made 2 tortillas that she set to cook in the comal. She ate the first one slowly so that she could feel the presence of her grandmother and of the Lord Quetzalcoatl inside her body. The other she let burn completely and later crushed in the grindstone until the tortilla was nothing but a fine ash that she tossed in the air to leave a trace of its presence in that place, so that the wind would speak for her about her past, about her childhood, about her grandmother. After completing this intimate personal ceremony, Malinali proceeded to pack her belongings. In a burlap sack, she put the necklaces that her grandmother had bequeathed to her, a few grains of corn from her field, plus a few cacao beans, very valuable coins that she could use if the need arose. As she put them in the sack, she yearned to be as precious as a cacao bean, for then she would be highly valued and no one would think of giving her away again. As soon as she had finished, she washed, dressed, and combed her hair with great care. Before leaving, she blessed the earth that had nourished her, as well as the water, the air, and the fire, asking the gods to be with her, to guide her, to lend her their light so that she might come to know their wishes and commands in order to be able to fulfill them. She asked their blessing so that anything she might do or say from that moment on would be beneficial to herself, to her people, to the cosmos. She asked the sun to lend her the strength of its voice so that she might be heard by all, and the rain to help her fertilize all that she had planted. She covered with earth the ashes remaining from that which had been her old fire, and left the weight of 15 years on her back and the presence of her grandmother and Quetzalcoatl in her gut.
This ends Disc 1.